look, my sister is back
Hello.
here. Yay.
It's been 3 months.
Yes, it's been a long time. While, but we've got like 24 hours together to do as many videos as we can. And then the next time we're meeting up is like the second week in January. Yeah. So in a few weeks' time. So yay, that'd be exciting.
It's Christmas in like 9 days.
9 days. I've got some tinsel.
And it's like wow, it's been crazy busy.
Yes, but we've managed to squeeze in a day. So yeah, 24 hours. Let's do this. Anyway, we want to talk about, as you can probably guess from the title of this video, we want to further talk about Charles Dickens. Yeah. Because I did my most recent video by myself. I was talking about Charles Dickens, how I love it and everything, and got some really lovely comments. And
you did, yeah, that was really nice.
That was really lovely. So thank you guys for the comments and everything. And so we wanted to talk about him a bit further. Yeah. And get your input on how you feel about Charles Dickens. So here we go. So Laura, how do you feel about Charles?
Well, my experience with Charles Dickens is more, I must admit, it's more drama-based than book-based.
Right.
I've seen a lot of the Charles Dickens dramas. I've read Christmas Carol, Tale of Two Cities, David Copperfield, and I started Bleak House, but I kind of abandoned it because I think I was too young and it was quite big and quite intimidating, so I didn't finish Bleak House. But I've always loved Charles Dickens. I remember at school we had a Charles Dickens collection of videos. Yeah. And one of the main ones, the ones that I fell in love with, was Martin Chuzzlewit.
Yeah.
I love Martin Chuzzlewit.
I didn't really get into Martin Chuzzlewit, but then as I showed on my last video, the DVD set of BBC dramas, the Charles Dickens collection, including Martin Chuzzlewit. Yeah. And I sat and I thought, okay, I'll watch an episode, see how I feel. And I just sat and I watched the whole thing in one go. I loved it. Yeah. I absolutely loved it.
It's one of the best cast adaptations there have been. I mean, there was kind of like a renaissance of Dickens around the time that I was a teenager, wasn't there? Because there was the David Copperfield, and then and I was in my early 20s. There was Bleak House was actually being broadcast when I got married. Yeah. And I tell you what, in the office that I was working at the time, there were so many people who were watching Bleak House and were like, oh my God, I can't believe that Tulkinghorn got killed, and I can't believe this, and I can't believe that.
Don't you agree that, you know, it's fantastic how the BBC broadcast that Little Dora and Dickensian, where you had your initial episode, where it's like an hour long, and then every single day after that, it was a half hour or 3/4 of an hour slot dedicated for
I think because Dickens has so many characters and so much going on, because he's not a lazy writer.
Oh, good God, no.
At all.
He plans every single possible circumstance of every single character. Even if they're not mentioned, if they're like far off in the background, you know he's figured out what path they're doing, how much they're buying stuff, everything. He planned to the nth degree.
Yeah, he was a great character writer.
Oh yeah.
And I'm currently reading It by Stephen King, and I think he has that same gift, that the characters, when you read them, they are real, whole, rounded people. Even like the librarian that Ben Hanscom is just talking to, you know.
I feel the same about JK as well.
Yeah.
I think JK's got that unique ability.
I think there are some writers who don't have that, who their characters are literally just a vehicle to make the next thing happen.
Yes.
But with Dickens, with Rowling, with King, I feel like they are proper character writers. Yeah. And his names, I mean, can we even just talk about names?
Love the name. My favourite.
Tulkinghorn. Yeah. It sounds malevolent. It sounds like hulking. It sounds nasty. And guess what? He is.
Yeah. My favourite name of all time is from Hard Times. Yeah. And there's a school that Thomas Gradgrind teaches at. Yeah. And their head teacher is only mentioned a couple of times. Yeah. But you know everything about this man from his name, and he's a headmaster of a school, and he's called Mr. McChokenchild.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, I got him off the bat. I totally get it.
You know, and I love...
Like Mr. Bumble and Mr. Micawber and stuff. These names are just... Mrs. Pinchkin. Is it Pinchin or Pinchkin? From Martin Chuzzlewit.
Oh, Mr. Pinch.
Oh, Mr. Pinch. Sorry, Pinch. I thought it was Pinchkin. Or
no.
Right.
I mean, my favourites are, let me think. There's Mr. Pumblechook in Great Expectations. There's Mr. Mantalini in Nicholas Nickleby. And I love that he's never afraid to allow a name to suggest an idea about a person. Lady Deadlock.
Yes.
Lady Deadlock
from Bleak House.
A deadlock is obviously a lock you cannot break.
Yeah.
And I and I just... What was the other one I was thinking? Yeah, pip. Yeah. What is a pip?
Yeah.
A pip is a seed that needs watering. And like we were talking about Great Expectations, and I think Great Expectations is a beautifully thought out exploration of manipulation and how this little seed of a boy is planted in London, which becomes a prison for Pip because of his own choices and his own stupidity, really. I mean, but is it stupidity or is it lack of education? I think naivety?
I think with Pip, it's that thing of that he doesn't dislike his childhood because he enjoyed his childhood, actually, even though he had issues with his sister.
I tell a lie. I did read Great Expectations.
Oh, you did?
Remember I read that one. Yes, I did read that one.
Yeah. I just feel like when he goes to London, it's a fresh start. Nobody knows who he is, so he can be whoever he wants. And he sees, all the boys are dressed that way, so I'm going to dress that way. I'm going to act that way. And when his brother-in-law, Joe, then turns up and humiliates him and makes him feel like he's worthless, it's like, Pip, look at yourself in the mirror. I love that Joe comes to his rescue and everything goes wrong.
I don't think that Joe humiliates him. I think Joe makes him feel...
Pip humiliates Joe.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, that's right. Yeah, because he's horrible to him.
He comes to the club and he's wearing his usual outfit and that, and
I've got to say,
makes him feel bad for it.
The thing I love about Great Expectations is that obviously Pip has been brought up in the marshes.
Yeah.
And that's very spooky, and it allows Magwitch, again, another fantastic name. Yeah. Because witches and the supernatural and this benefactor who he thinks is Miss Havisham, which again, have a shame.
Yeah.
Havisham.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing, but what I love about it is the novel and the series goes on is that you realise that the marshes and the ironworks are real, are natural, are places where things are made, whereas London becomes this sort of symbol of fakeness, falseness, superficiality, and violence, actually, if you think about it.
I love also Joe in Great Expectations because of what happens later on in the books when he's at home, when Pip's in London, that you don't really learn about until you come back to it.
Yeah.
And it's like he's falling in love and he's getting married and he's just full of light and joy, and he's learnt to read and write for Pip so he can write letters to him in London.
Yeah.
And Pip had no idea.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, so bless him.
He has educated himself to feel more equal to Pip.
Yeah.
And Pip is doing the classic nouveau riche thing of keeping up with the Joneses. Then you've got characters like Bentley Drummle, who is someone who has been raised in power and richness and privilege, who is a violent, nasty man.
And beautifully acted in a recent drama by Tom Burke.
Mr. Burke. I was quite overcome. Tom, keep playing sexy bastards because I like it.
But isn't it amazing in that drama? Like we were saying that with him in other dramas and that you can see him abuse Estella, but he is so manipulative that with his scenes, when you actually see Tom Burt playing him, it's what he's saying, but you never see him abuse her, but he is abusing her at the same time with his words.
Yeah, because there's bruises on her shoulders where she's obviously been held down, and on her neck.
The way the writer has interpreted that was really beautiful, I think. Yeah.
The girl that plays Stella, Vanessa Kirby, is in The Crown playing Princess Margaret. And there is kind of a parallel between those two women, because they're both trapped in a system that they can't get out of, and they rebel in the only way that they know how.
Yeah.
And she plays her beautifully, actually, because you can see there's a lot going on in her eyes. And I think Estella is such a great character.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, her name, to me, sums up ice for some reason. Yeah. Estella is not I don't know, but it's ice.
Yeah.
And I think she's...
I always thought of it as kind of like a jewel. In that, as you say, cold to touch, but still there's something that draws you to her. There's something about that jewel that catches your eye.
I just think Miss Havisham is... She's just this ghost. She just haunts everything. And satis house is, I mean, I looked it up in Latin. Satis means enough.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
And I thought about satisfied means to have enough, I suppose. But Miss Havisham is an incredibly complex woman.
Yeah.
Because she wants to manipulate Pip and Estella. She wants Estella to be like this ultimate revenge against men.
Yeah.
But doesn't think that she's done her work so well that Estella turns on her in the end.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I thought that was so well done. And I loved that in the 2011 version with Gillian Anderson, who, by the way, owns Miss Havisham. She's the best Miss Havisham I've ever seen.
All the awards that she got for playing Miss Havisham.
She was
ridiculously wonderful.
But I loved that she deliberately set herself on fire. I loved that it wasn't an accident.
Because in the book, Pip kind of looks away, and then he hears a scream and he turns back and she stood there on fire. So for it to be her choice, and she's burning the letters, the love letters and everything, it's just so... wow, in that moment. I loved that. But I think also, we were saying before, how that version is so good because it shows how Miss Havisham deteriorates and how she gets freaked out by people entering the house, and she gets there's shots of her neck and her hands, and she's constantly itching, and and it's like you can almost see blood and red raw. It's the hands.
Do you know who's another parallel for Joe Gargery as well? Is Magwitch. Magwitch works and gets himself in a position where he's able to give Pip this great legacy.
Yeah.
And I loved that at its core, you've got these two men from very different walks of life who work to try to lift Pip up. And ultimately, it's Pip who has to make the choice.
Yeah.
What do you want to be?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be? You want to be a good man, a natural man. And I loved as well that Herbert Pocket, Herbert's amazing,
so sweet.
and I love that Harry Lloyd plays him. Harry Lloyd is Charles Dickens' great grandson.
Yeah.
And I loved that he, like Bentley Drummle, has come from a place of privilege and riches, but has made the choice to be a good man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That he's got these three tenets of men,
Yeah.
good men trying to lift him up.
Yeah.
And the only person that can make it really is Pip himself.
Yeah.
And he chooses to in the end.
Yeah.
But like Dickens and girls, there's a problem there.
Dickens and girls, there's a problem there. And before we get on to that, I just want to say, I forgot to mention in my last video, a bad version of Great Expectations is the film version with Ralph Fiennes, Helena Bonham Carter and Holiday Granger. That is awful.
Yeah. It's not
like,
good.
what the hell was that? Helena just plays Miss Havisham as this kind of really erratic woman who's, but at the same time she's this like really strong, like, I will have my way kind of thing. Estella is reduced to about 3 scenes. Not joking you.
She's Holiday Granger. What?
I know.
That's
They reduced her to like 3 scenes. It's just disgusting. I was like, she's more than that. Ray Fiennes' Magwitch was just a bit, and Jeremy Irvin, who did he came to fame on Warhorse, he played Pip. It was all right, but then it was like, altogether it was just wrong on so many levels. So I would avoid that one like the plague, but go for the 2011 BBC one,
because it's 3 hours long and it's
the perfect length.
It is, and it explores all the themes of the book beautifully, I thought.
Do you know what though? It's really odd, right? I because at the time when it was made, because I did video editing and such, and I edited a video and included the kiss between Pip and Estella in that, and someone commented, "Oh, I cannot abide this video because it includes that you're using that version. They don't kiss in the book. How dare the adaptator decide to do that?" And it's like, it's their choice. What does it matter? But there's loads of characters in, couples that get together in books who don't actually kiss in the book. But it doesn't matter.
I actually love that Pip and Estella get together. And whether or not they will stay together, I don't know. Do you think that they would have married in the end?
I think they probably would. They've gone through so much.
They're like 2 war survivors, aren't they? Like war veterans.
I don't think necessarily it's a case of, oh my god, I need you desperately in my life and all else I can't survive, I'm going to become Miss Havisham. It's a case of, we're comfortable together.
I like
we understand each other.
Yeah. I like the idea that they would completely gut Satis house and get rid of all of the ghosts and all the crap and everything. Fill it with light, fill it with children, fill it with warmth, fill it with life. Yeah. In other words, I do love that idea. But anyway,
on to Dickens and women. Yeah. Dickens.
You are either in Dickens. Now, Dickens was not a feminist. I'm sorry.
No.
He wasn't.
No.
You are either a mother, a wife, a whore, a virgin,
or a crazy
bitch.
Or a crazy lady.
Or a crazy lady.
Yeah.
He doesn't... He drives me mad with that.
I think this kind of thing, you have to look at Dickens' obsession with women straight off the mark, and also look at society. Because even though he shone a light on, like, the poor society and said, look at these people, they are real, they're, so I want to write about them and I will present these people to you, which was awesome. At the same time, he's like, well, once you're married, you have kids, and that's it. You look after your husband. I don't do anything else.
I mean, he was a patriarch of his own family, and you're right. Victorian England, Victorian Britain, the Victorian world. Let's not worry about Britain. Perhaps the cultural norm in the 19th century in the West was marriage and children. Yeah. That is the cultural norm.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with him is the thing that I hate, can't stand, wants to, is that the women, they have those archetypes and they have nothing else. It's like...
marriage is the ending
Little
goal.
Dorrit.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Amy Dorrit.
Yes.
Could not be any more saccharine, sweet, lovely, pure and kind if you tried, could she?
No.
Okay, who else? Mrs. Gamp from Martin Chuzzlewit could not be more of an alcoholic mess.
Yeah.
Lady Dedlock is trapped in this horrendous secret that she's had to shroud herself in this marriage to this man she doesn't particularly love, but doesn't not love either. And perhaps in her case it's slightly different, but you do get these women in his novels where being pure is all they are.
You can see that, especially like Kate Nickleby.
Kate Nickleby, and there is Agnes Copperfield. She becomes Agnes Copperfield. Mr. Wickfield.
Yeah.
Agnes Wickfield.
Kate Nickleby.
Little Dorrit.
Oh,
You've got
even
the Dora
Spenlow. Yeah.
She's. You see, in her case, I feel like that's his shot at his wife. I reckon his wife was Dora Spenlow.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I think that Catherine Dickens had to make a choice.
Yeah.
Either put up and shut up.
Yeah.
Or ignore. And I think she chose that one. I think for her to remain married to Charles Dickens, she was trapped through convention, but I think it was a choice she had to make not to feel anything anymore.
Yeah.
Because I just think...
It's interesting that...
He must have been so hard to be married to.
Yeah, I mean, in The Man Who Invented Christmas... there's a maid who's made up, obviously, for the film.
Yeah.
Called, I think she's Tara or something. And she's telling the kids ghost stories, and he connects to that. And he keeps asking for her to bring his dinner to his study. He won't eat with his wife anymore. And wanting her to stay there for a while. And the looks that... his wife is casting about the room and taken aback when she's got people around her, and Tara comes in and goes, "Oh, sorry, ma'am, he's requested that I take his dinner up to his room and sit with him for a while." And it's like, Jesus. But then at the end, of course, everything's made up and it's lovely and it's sunshine and
Yeah, because it's a Christmas film, isn't it?
Obviously, it's only exploring some elements of his life, because there's so much messed up stuff with Charles Dickens. It happened with him.
He was not a good man. He wasn't.
He was an
excellent writer.
Yeah, like I said in my other video,
yeah.
I judge him based on his works, not who he was as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think it would have been very, very hard to be married to a man like Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
I think these days, if you were to put Charles Dickens into the 21st century, I think he would have...
I think he would have been obsessed with Twitter.
No. I think Shakespeare would have been obsessed with Twitter. But I just think he was an emotionally neglectful husband and father, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was quite an abusive person, actually, in a lot of ways, because I don't think that a man who could do what he did to her would...
Yeah. Again, in The Man Who Invented Christmas, there's a bit where he gets really angry that somebody... it's actually Tara, I think. She enters his room and he goes ballistic on her and he slams the door right in her face as he's showing his true colours, and he terrifies her.
Yeah.
And I think that is what he was kind of... all of a sudden he could snap.
Yeah. And when he's working, I've seen, clips of it, when he's working, he wants to... It's almost like he needs a concentrated environment to get all these characters up in his mind. And I do understand. I mean, he was a genius, and genius and madness are interlinked and interlocked.
And especially with his tours and everything that he did. Because I remember seeing a documentary, I think Charles Dance did it, and he got the kind of notepad or diary of his, and he kind of followed the same route as Charles Dickens did, and he was like, how the hell did this man manage to sustain this for so long? It's not surprising that he had a stroke.
He
died
was
so early.
Clearly a mentally not crazy, but
he can't stop.
Yes, he had that kind of can't stop, won't stop, must not stop, must get this down, must do this, constant deadlines with magazines and books, and I'm sure he probably had 3 books on the go at once. His brain was so incredibly strenuous in how it worked that everyone else around him just kind of had to deal.
Yeah.
You know, including his children.
I think especially if you look at his books, as he gets older, they get darker. Especially...
Great Expectations is the only book with no comedy.
Yeah.
There is no comedy in Great Expectations at all.
Nor would I say... Well, okay, maybe you could say there's a teeny tiny, because of the circus, Hard Times.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's not much.
And I love the fact that
Hard
Times...
Our Mutual Friend as well, I don't think has much comedy in it at all.
I love the fact with Hard Times, it's set in a fictional place, but it's very much reflecting London, called Coketown. Coketown, sorry, not Choketown, but it's that play on the word, isn't it? And how it's so dark, you can't see anything in front of your face because of the industrialisation. And
there's Mr. Gradgrind, and who is the man that Louisa Gradgrind marries? Bounderby. Mr. Bounderby. Yeah. Because he's bounders over his boundary.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. Yeah. I love that. I love that about him. I think he's quite a dark man.
Especially
really.
If you look at his last book, which he never completed. He died halfway through writing it, The Disappearance of Edwin Drood. That follows our hero, if he's a hero, is a man who is... He's an opium addict. He just hangs around in opium houses 24/7. He has a nephew who disappears, and it's all about what happened to him. But at the same time, you have these characters that turn up that are linked to him because of another family member. And there are these two Indian immigrants who are living in London, who have kind of become the adoptive children of the hero's brother, and how it's a girl and a boy. I can't for the life of me remember their names.
Rosa.
Is it Rosa?
I think it's Rosa, because I vaguely remember
because they've changed their names.
They did a drama.
They did a drama. The drama, I really enjoyed the drama, but of course, just like because there's only half the book, they had to make up the ending, which is really interesting. But no, the actual characters, they talk about how they've had to change their names to make them blend in more to society, and how society reflects feels about them. And it's a boy and a girl, brother and sister, and the boy's really frustrated. But don't you find that interesting that that's an Indian boy and girl, and how you have a frustrated character? And in Little Dorrit, there's a character, oh gosh, her name, I can't think what her name is, but she is a black woman. Tati Coram, who got adopted into a family who
because the girl that's in Doctor Who was
who played Martha Jones. She plays her really, really wonderfully. And she is she's constantly flying off the handle because she doesn't understand her place, because she's told, yes, you're adopted, but go and get our stuff, go to the kitchen, go get our tea,
haven't you?
And so she falls.
Is she canonically black? Is that in it?
It's referred to.
I just didn't know
because she's a member of the family, but she's treated as a servant, and she has to run around for her adoptive sister and make her feel comfortable and get tea for her parents and all this stuff. But she's been brought up, she's gotten educated because of that, and she falls for a woman who is, I think, the only lesbian that Charles Dickens wrote.
That's right. This is Maxine Peake.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, actually, when I was watching the drama, if that was, like, just being subtly interplayed, or if that was actually in the book, because I've never read Little Dorrit.
It is.
But there is definitely a thing. There's definitely a thing there.
She manipulates Tati Coram, but Tati Coram, she's a smart girl.
She is a smart girl.
And even though it takes her some time to go, right, I've got to go and do something about this, she does it. So you can't help but feel love for her for what she did.
His heroes are very pure. And his villains are fabulous. I love his villains. Uriah Heep.
Uriah Heep is
amazing.
I literally, when they mention his name in The Man Who Invented Christmas, I squealed. I was like, my god!
Actually, I was watching Dickensian. I've only managed to watch like the first episode because I'm having a real problem with it in that all these names are coming up and I know where they're from. And I know, and part of me's like, I like this and I don't. I feel it feels a bit jumbled, a bit unsettled.
But it's kind of because you can tell the guy who wrote it writes for EastEnders because there's so many different people with their own different storylines.
Yeah.
But as it progresses, I'd say stick with it. Obviously, if you don't want to carry on, don't carry on.
No, I think I will.
I'd say stick with it because it gets really good and it follows a young Miss Havisham.
I know.
A young Lady Dedlock and how they get to where they get. Because the point where Dickensian ends, that is the point where their characters of who they are established for their books.
Right, that's what I was worried that they would mess up.
No, the only thing I kind of felt like, oh, that's a bit weird, was when Little Nell in Old Curiosity Shop, who famously dies in Charles Dickens' book, suddenly comes back to life. She's fine. That was a bit, like, okay.
But speaking of his villains, Uriah Heep, ever so humble, Mr. Copperfield.
He's so rat-like.
Ambition ain't for me.
He scurries around.
And I love Nicholas Lyndhurst as Uriah Heep.
That was one of the best.
Brilliant.
I mean, he's a really great dramatic actor.
He really is.
But I think that was one of like the first. Oh, obviously, I've seen him like various comedies and such because he's Only Fools and Horses. Everybody knows Only Fools and Horses here in the UK. But I'd seen like little things of dramatic work, but nothing big. And then that slammed me across the face, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, he's actually an excellent dramatic actor.
Any drama that I come across with him in, I get really excited.
Yeah, no, I've seen him. He was in United Kingdom. He played Rosamund Pike's father, and he did a beautiful job in that because in a United Kingdom, Rosamund Pike marries David Oyelowo's character Seretse Khama.
Yeah, it's based on true story.
It is, who was an African prince of Bechuana land, which is now Botswana, and they fall in love and they get married. And nobody is happy about this except them. Yeah. And he plays Rosamund Pike's father, which is weird because I think he's probably only like a decade older than she is. But
but you know, it's.
But the point is, he sees their marriage as a shame on their family.
Yeah.
And he tells her that and essentially disowns her. But then eventually he comes around, and when he meets her again, she's holding Jacqueline, her and Seretse's daughter, and she lets him hold the baby, and it's like you can see he's sorry. He's really genuinely sorry. And he has changed his mind because as a character he has evolved and he has appreciated what they've gone through to be together. He doesn't say a word, but it's all on his face, and I love that.
And I really loved that there was, I think maybe 10 odd years ago now, that the BBC commissioned a drama of the earlier Only Fools and Horses, and it was a dramatic piece.
Was it Rock, Roll and Chips?
Rock and Roll and Chips, I think it was called.
Like
and there was this whole thing that got explored in Only Fools and Horses that Del and Rodney, he played Rodney, were only half brothers, and Rodney only found this out maybe about halfway through the 15 odd years that they played these roles. It was ridiculous amount of time, and it was a beautiful thing. And it was like, and he said, like, no matter what, you're my brother. I don't give a shit about our bloodlines. And this drama explored the Rodney being conceived, basically. And it got commissioned, and it had one of the boys from In-Betweeners playing Del Boy.
That's right. And what's the name that plays Linda Carter?
She
played their mum.
She played their mum. And then the following year it got further. But the fabulous thing that they did was that Nicholas Lyndhurst, who played Rodney in Only Fools and Horses, played his biological father in that drama. And it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So if you're able to see that, I really recommend it. Sadly, the writer, I can't remember his name. He passed away
Yeah.
not long before they did the final series or whatever got actual broadcast. So it's never been developed since.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want another writer touching it.
It's probably too late now, to be honest.
Well, no, they didn't at the time. They wanted
Yeah.
it to carry on, but then they thought, no, we don't want another writer touching this because that's quite. It's special
Anyway,
to him.
back to Dickens.
Yes, back to Dickens.
Back to Dickens.
His
Uriah
villains. Yes.
Heap. Who else? Jonas Chuzzlewit. He's an asshole. Bill Sykes.
Bill Sykes
Asshole.
is the ultimate.
Tulkinghorn. He's awful. He's
Yeah.
a terrible person.
Yeah.
He's like, oh god, he's awful. But then you've got like levels of villainy. I think.
Yeah.
Like you've got
Like Fagin.
Fagin, and you've got
You could even argue like
what's his name?
you can even argue like even
Pecksniff in Martin Chuzzlewit.
Yeah, you could even argue people like Miss Havisham or even
She's a villain
because of a level of villainy within it. And then obviously you've got people like Scrooge who then at the beginning of the book they're really horrible, and then at the end of the book they've turned everything around.
Yeah.
So each of his characters are very it's really hard. But like is it Blanois in Little Dorrit? He's the French bad guy played by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, with a terrible French accent. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I know.
It was
it
bad.
wasn't the best French accent, but he was a good bad guy. You were a good bad guy.
I had to turn on the subtitles because I didn't understand. That's bad.
But then he also does things where he always has a sacrifice in every single book, and usually it's a child or a young person
or a woman
who are so over sentimental, it's ridiculous. Now, the only one who I will allow to pass because I think he's a beautiful character is Smike. But if you look at Joe in Bleak House, it's like, for God's sake, just die already. I'm sorry. No, but how many? No, but how many sections of that book do you go through and he's still like, oh, I'm still alive. Oh, look how lovely the sunshine is coming out for me behind that dark cloud or something. And there's in Bleak Expectations, they refer to him as Joe Sentimental Overload.
It's true.
And it's like, for God's sake, that's the only time I've thought, oh, for God's sake, just die already.
Dickens is a sentimentalist. Oh, he really is. Like, when he does it, it's on with a trowel.
It's like
Tim. 6 trowels.
Look at Tiny Tim. Look at...
I mean... Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just think he's a great writer, but sometimes it's like, Charlie, just let it go.
Yeah.
Just let the kid die.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's done.
I was like you know, you're making it really hard for me to deal with this. Put me out of my misery and just say that he passed away quietly in his sleep. Yeah. Something like that. Please.
Another character who is dealt horrendous blows for not really any reason other than to keep her lover's story going, is little Emily in David Copperfield. Her arc is about Steerforth. It's not about her.
Yeah, Emily, she's a little girl by the seaside who dreams of bigger and better things, but she knows that she's never going to leave, and then a dashing man who finds her appealing comes along, so of course she runs away with him and various things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, but some of his sacrifices, oh no, that's another one who I will let go, I will keep because I adore him, is Ham. Ham and Smike. So that's Ham from David Copperfield and Smike from Nicholas Nickleby. They're the two that I will say I approve of sacrificing.
Lee Ingleby played Smike.
Yes!
And he did it beautifully.
And do you agree what I said in that drama, that the film version with Anne Hathaway is terrible? It's dirty without the dirt.
It is, and it's so, unfortunately, whoever did the music, and I think it was the same person that did the music for Emma.
Yeah. It's too dirty.
It's really light and fluffy and happy, and I'm like, this is not what this is.
No,
this is
that version.
Awful.
When you want to see dark, okay, I will show you what that school is like. And there's a shot because they come up at night, and Smike shows the boys to their room. The new boys arrive at school, and he goes, bed. because he can't say any more, and it's just a track shot, and it just follows across this floor, and there's about 14 boys that are under a couple of blankets, and that's it.
Do you know the scene that always breaks my heart is when he makes the bird out of the paper.
Yeah, because he gives
them
a
boat out of a hat.
and he goes,
and they don't know what
let's make
means.
it into a boat, and how it makes them smile. Yeah. And it's the first time those boys have smiled for probably years, and it's
stimulation, because they have been so badly neglected and understimulated and starved. Yeah. Of anything,
and they're petrified to answer him because they think he's going to beat them, just as they've always beaten. Nicholas will not have that. He will not beat
even
them.
The name of the school, Do the Boys Hall.
Yeah,
I love that, and I think that there is Dickens really did care about social justice.
Oh God, yeah,
he really did. Unfortunately, what he did not care about was sometimes his characters in the same way, I feel.
Yeah, but isn't it weird, like when Christmas Carol got released, overnight charity donations shot up like crazy. After Nicholas Nickleby got released, overnight schools were being shut down all over the UK because they were going, oh my God, let's actually review this
in schools.
Yeah, so it kind of felt like he was holding up a mirror constantly going, this is what we are.
Yeah.
Do something about it.
Yeah.
So I can't help but obviously love that side of him, but at the same time, like you say, you're making your characters do things that you're saying shouldn't be done. That's a bit.
Yeah. But then again, we've also got to understand and put this into perspective. We are two 21st century women who have been raised in a very, very different time, different culture. There has been a cultural revolution in the time since he even died.
Yeah.
So in the time that he lived, it's totally different. Yeah. So for me to say he wasn't a feminist and he wasn't a this and he wasn't a that, well,
there's a society aspect.
There is a societal aspect.
To take a weight to
However, me saying he isn't a feminist, there are characters in his books, like Lady Dedlock, who do things, who do act on their circumstances. Yeah. What frustrates me about him is that he has characters like Agnes Wickfield, who does nothing but keep her daddy and wait for David to realise that she's there.
Yeah.
And Agnes Wickfield could have been so kick-ass.
Yeah.
But she's not.
No.
Dora Spenlow is this frivolous, playful, sweet little thing who David marries and then decides to be judgmental and horrible to.
Yeah. Before
realising, well, perhaps if I look at her positively, I won't feel so bad because she's so bad at keeping house.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little bit... Sometimes I'm like, just... please do something else. But then again, I'm judging him on my 21st century perspective.
But I think just like as with Dickens' work and with other writers' work, I love various adaptations because you can look at the light side, you can look at the dark side, you can look at, the people that are really proactive and ones who are not.
Yeah.
Just like that contrast, you've got the film version of Nicholas Nickleby, which just is a barrel of laughs and doesn't actually take focus on what it is.
Yeah.
And then you've got that drama of Nicholas Nickleby from 2002, which I've looked is actually on YouTube. Someone's uploaded it entirely on YouTube.
Have they?
So
right.
you can. I might if I remember, I'll put the link in the description. That looks at the dark, really focused, but it does show the light as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that Dickens is probably one of the easier people to adapt because the structure of his books and his stories are very linear.
Yeah,
he's not one for like flashbacks and any of that.
He tells you past stories that you need to know when it's convenient. But other than that, you don't like. For example, Lady Dedlock and Nero. Why does she collapse? Why does she go Nemo? Sorry. Why does she go crazy when she realizes Nemo?
Yeah.
And then you start getting these threads through. We don't know everything that happened, but we start getting threads, and that's what gets explored in Dickensian.
Yeah.
For how Lady Dedlock becomes Lady Dedlock.
But like Esther Summerson and Ada Clare.
Yeah.
Again, two girls
From Bleak House, by the way.
From Bleak House. Two girls who are very good girls, very pure girls, and again, who wait, who sit and wait.
Don't you find
Esther's
it though?
great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Esther's great. She stands up for herself and all that kind of thing. But Ada does nothing.
No, the reaction with after she gets smallpox, isn't it? That
I actually
and how that disfigures her face and takes away her beauty, and it's like.
I thought that was a really interesting
Yeah.
choice that he chose to do that to her.
Yeah, why disfigure her? What does that even? What's the point? Think these men. I've really enjoyed her company, but now that she's disfigured, oh no, we can't sit with her. We can't have this conversation. She's tainted to us or something.
It's to make her more of an outcast, isn't it?
But you don't need that, and I'm so happy that she finds love with the man that she does at the end of the book,
Woodcourt,
and that he doesn't care about her face and stuff like this. And
I've got to say though, the makeup department when they did that was very, very good. But I wish
at the same time it was like there's like 3 bits on her face, like 1, 2, 3.
But like she's not really scarred by it, really.
But
is she?
in the book, she's quite
yeah. It's an interesting choice to make, isn't it? But I don't know. I'm just frustrated by my own 21st century ideas of what women should be in books, and I don't think that Dickens services women's agency very well, but he does give them really good stories.
Yes,
he does give them good
and they're
stories.
Prominent.
They are prominent people. I'm not going to just be like a complete bitch about this. And I realise that my perspective.
Okay, so for example, like Ada, like we said, she doesn't actually do anything.
No.
But her scenes when she's like having this turmoil of my husband is doing crazy shit. He's getting us seriously into debt. I'm pregnant. I can't do anything to help him. What the hell do I do? So he explores that turmoil, even though Ada can't do anything, and she doesn't do anything. You know, he still explores that in her mind.
Do you get the feeling that she would marry John Jarndyce in the end?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Because
but I don't see that as a bad thing.
No, I don't either. I think he would be an excellent protector and an excellent father to her child.
Yeah. Just because he's much older than her doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
It's who he is as a man, as a person.
There's Dickens was a great writer.
Yeah.
A great character writer. He's just his opinions and his ideals about women, about children, about a lot of stuff. They're just literally symptomatic of when he lived.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something that people have got to just swallow. Yeah. Really.
One other film version that I would avoid like the plague is The Invisible Woman.
I saw.
That's a film based on the book The Invisible Woman, written by Claire Tomlin. That's it. Sorry, I couldn't think of her name. I bought her book, the Charles Dickens book, the other day. I've got it over there because I couldn't find it in my book collection. Turned out I didn't have it when I thought I did, so I bought it. But that one, that's just, oh my god, that film is awful.
It's so boring.
It explores the... It explores Charles Dickens and the relationship with his lover, he was in his 50s, she was 19, his obsession with her and everything.
Ooh.
God. It was.
Sorry.
I gave up halfway through.
Yeah,
I was like, no.
I gave it away. I bought it for like a £5 at work.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, this is so boring.
Ray Fiennes was a terrible
choice. Yeah.
It was so slow. There was hardly anything to like get the pace going in it. It was just, everything was just wrong about it. And okay, it wasn't one of Dickens' story because it was about him, but then at the same time, The Man Who Invented Christmas was about Charles Dickens, and that had me enthralled from the minute it began.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna get that when it comes out on DVD.
there was another that Charles dance thing that I mentioned where he did the tour and everything. Though it was kind of dramatised as well, and oh God, the actor. Did you ever see that drama with Daniel Radcliffe about? Oh no, I know who it is. In 4 Weddings and a Funeral, the guy who played Bernard.
Oh, him! Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't think what his name is. I'm going to have to put it in the description. He played Charles Dickens.
Right, I bet he'd be really good at that.
He was fabulous.
Yeah.
And like there was the bit where, which happened where he was getting on a train and he was going to visit her and he turned up late and it was dark and she's like, where were you? I expected you like 4 hours ago. And he went, oh, because I saw someone at a station and I thought that they would figure out that I was coming here because you were on the next stop. So I've been walking for 4 hours to get here. And he broke down crying. And she's comforting him. And I'm like, this is so good. And then I look at the Invisible Woman and I'm like, what the hell is this? This is just garbage.
No, and there was no chemistry between Ray Fiennes and
none whatsoever.
Felicity.
What's her name? Who was in?
Oh my God, it's so bad.
Well, to be fair, we didn't know that we were going to bring this up.
Felicity.
She was in that. She was in Stephen Hawking. She was in Stephen Hawking's.
She was.
Oh, I'll put it in the description.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, her name's just fallen out my head. Her surname. But yeah, she played Nell. She played the interest. And there was I mean, it was an interesting relationship that they had. I think that was the way I would describe it. Interesting, not
not healthy.
Not healthy in the slightest.
Not good at all.
But the obsession thing and how it built into his timetable and everything that he had to do and this Charles dance thing, it was fabulous. And how they partly dramatised it, it was really, really good. But yeah, it was, The Invisible Woman, don't touch it with a barge pole. That's what I would say. It was awful.
I wouldn't either. But no, to summarise, after we've been talking all this time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Dickens was a great writer. I think Dickens was probably not a very good man.
Yeah.
And
I agree with the Miriam Margolyes Dickens Women. If you're able to listen to it, get it off iTunes, whatever, please do, because it's fantastic. I totally agree that Miss Havisham is a reflection of him.
Which is so fucked up.
I know.
Because if you think about that, if he's...
Just that she's an abusive woman.
She's abusive, she's controlling, she's manipulative, she's fucked in all ways. And I think that...
The scene that always makes me think of Miss Havisham is the bit when Pip comes to the house and she leads him to a table and she has this like whip and she slams a whip down. She's like, when I die, you're going to lie me on this table. You are going to stand there. Estella is going to stand there. My relatives are going to stand there. And she's slamming this whip on the table. And it's like, what is this?
I think he was the kind of man who would like go to this place and that place and that place and that place. And like you said, the schedule was so crazy.
Yeah.
And mad. It wouldn't surprise me if he was the type of man to be like that anyway.
Yeah.
Because
everything had to
be structured. Everything had to be on his terms, on his timetable, because he's the bloody genius who's bringing in the money so that Catherine Dickens can stay at home with her children.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if he had that tendency to be like that himself.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it's like I said to you, if he's Miss Havisham and he's Estella...
Well, Miriam Margolyes believes that Estella is Nell. Yeah, the 19-year-old lover.
It's so terrible.
The obsession to be with her and be around her and do everything for her, yet have her be subservient and do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so messed up, isn't it? I hope that girl got married to some man she loved.
She ended up marrying a clergyman.
Do you know what? That was probably the best thing for her.
She was an actress who randomly met Charles Dickens, and so they met via that, and she was going to be a famous actress and that, and she ended up going out of acting and became a clergyman's wife.
I hope to God she was happy. I really do. You know what you were saying about adaptations? I think they did do theatre adaptations of Charles's work.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, sure, there's
Sort of later in his career.
Yeah, but that not like straight off the mark or anything.
No,
and yet you say they'd be long theatre pieces.
Yeah, I hope Nell was happy in the end.
I think
really
she was.
do.
I think she had a couple of daughters as well. I think she became the mother and everything. But her dreams of being a famous actress went out the window.
Yeah.
Because of the scandal and everything that came about, and like famously, they were on a train together and it crashed. And there was...
Didn't he run back to get the novel he was working on?
No. What it was, they were on the train together, but they were in separate compartments to make it seem like they weren't together, but they were together. The train crashed, and he rescued a load of people and everything. And obviously there was a thing of him going back to get his stuff and that. But the picture that was prominent in newspapers was drawn by an artist, and it showed Charles rescuing Nell. Because he knew that Charles was there and Nell was there. Coincidentally, like every single time. I kind of felt like if it was modern day, like he'd be like photographed leaving the restaurant, and then 5 minutes later she would be. Yeah. You know, they weren't together, but they were together.
Then they'd be on the Daily Mail front page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was what that was the equivalent of.
Yeah.
That he was rescuing Nell.
But what a writer he was. What a great,
phenomenal
truly great writer he
was. And like
was.
I say, I judge him based on his works, not on his life.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to look at his works when you understand his life.
Yeah.
And that Miriam Margolyes Dickens Women, I strongly recommend.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get hold of that.
I got it on iTunes.
Right. Okay. So all right. But anyway, I think that's it.
Fabulous. All right, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.